Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode, I should say, of the Three Benzone. My name is Ben Cornett. I want to hop on here today for a little bit. Won't stay on too long, but talk some college hoops. As you know, this is for most of the conferences, uh, the season finale this weekend, last games of the year for some conferences. They've already kicked off their conference tournaments. Yeah, so we are right in it. This is March. We're ready to go. This is the greatest month in sports. I should say, I'm sorry. This is the greatest sporting event in the world. This is the greatest month in the world for sports, which is March Madness. Um, you can say that the Super Bowl is a great sport. It's fun, and it is. It's a great spectacle. But to me, March Madness, the NCAA tournament, the conference tournaments, even, this is a month long journey for your college sports fandom. And I don't think there's any other sporting event, that can top that. So, in my opinion, I am ready. I always look forward to this time of year. So let's hop into it. Right now, as you can see, I got my North Carolina Michael Jordan jersey from back in the day. This is the old school jersey. You know, I like watching North Carolina. I'm not a Duke fan, so sorry, but got to root for UNC in this situation because I got a good friend named Sean Spencer who is a diehard North Carolina fan. And as you know, right now they are currently playing, and it is tied up at 43 at the moment. So this is a game where UNC needs it. They are, according to ESPN's bracketology, Joe Lunardi has them as the first four out of the tournament right now, and they need a win badly. They need that quad one win, kind of boost their resume. It might not help them get into that last four right now per se, but it would go a long way if they can beat Duke tonight. And obviously, even if both teams were, no matter where they are, where their record is, it's a rivalry. So they're going to want to win no matter what. Duke's going to win no matter. They'll want to win no matter what because they're safe. They're going to be in the tournament, but they still want to beat North Carolina in North Carolina. I remember like back in the 2010s when Austin Rivers hit that game-winning shot for North Carolina. That was not a pleasant memory. But this rivalry, Duke North Carolina, to me it's probably the best rivalry in sports, not just football or baseball or basketball, what have you, but in sports in general. I mean, it is just such a historic rivalry, and what's really unique about this rivalry, especially this year, is no Coach K. This is the first time in my lifetime that I've not seen Coach K on the floor coaching a Duke team against North Carolina. Well, I take it back. There was one time, I think it was 94, 95, I think, when he had to have, I think he had a health issues, so he had to sit out for the year. So other than that, though, I mean, Coach K has been to every game, every rivalry game with UNC Duke. Um, you had your Dean Smiths, you had your Bill Guthridge, your Roy Williams. Now you got Hubert Davis, who's coaching the Tar Heels, who last year was probably like 30 seconds away from winning a national championship, and now they're on the brink of not making the NCAA tournament, and that's pretty surprising considering they brought back several key players from that title game last year. Caleb Love, Armando Bacot, um, Davis, and I got to admit it's been disappointing all year. This team was ranked preseason number one, and then they've not lived up to the expectations that a lot of people had. I certainly had them as a top 5, top 10 team going into the season, but now they're like in pretty much every bracketology, they're one of the first 4 out or like the next 4 out. So, yeah, it is a surprise, but again, a lot can still happen. It's not over yet. They if they can get a win tonight and then do some damage in the ACC tournament, I would even say maybe even get into the championship game. They can very much get into the tournament, but they got to get these wins. I think they're like 1-8 as far as the quad one record goes, and that's tough, to overcome. If they I'm trying to say this. Sorry, guys, I'm kind of looking back and forth, but quad one wins, it's just on that level of, how teams do at home and on the road. Uh, beating Duke tonight would be considered a quad one win because, hold on a sec. I'm hoping to get a friend of mine, Sean Spencer, on. He's a North Carolina fan. I want to get his perspective. Yeah, because sorry about that. I've been in and out all day, so I haven't really prepared. One of my friends was like, "Do you want to do a 2-3 Benzone?" And sure enough, like, not Sean, but somebody else, he's like, "Okay, I'll do it," but I'll only be on for a few minutes because I got stuff to do. But he wanted to come on and talk, but I guess not. So anyway, let's move on. Hopefully I'll get Sean in here. I sent him the link, so we'll see what happens here. But other games going on. There are other games other than the North Carolina Duke game. Some big games today. We had upsets. Iowa State beat Baylor. Baylor, number 7th ranked. Iowa State getting a win there in Waco, Texas. Huge, obviously for Iowa State. I mean, they're going to get in the tournament, but getting a road win like that is only going to help them out, and that helps teams out when you have to go into the tournament playing on neutral sites. If you can, one of the great things about the Big 12 is, if you can win on the road, in other teams' arenas with crowds like that, then to me that's only going to elevate you and prepare you for when you get to the NCAA tournament. You get to those games where you get down to the first, second round, and then Sweet 16, Elite 8, Final Four. I mean, because it only gets tougher. And one of the great things about the Big 12 is, with 10 teams there, they're probably going to get 8 teams in. And, perhaps maybe a 9th team, let's say like a Texas Tech, who this year I think are like 16 and 12, 16 and 13. And they have a lot of wins, good wins against teams like Kansas State, Texas, teams like that. But their record's not great. And if they can like go on a run and win the conference tournament next week in Kansas City for Texas Tech, that would be that would be like a ninth team, because right now the bracketologies have like at least 7 or 8 teams in the field already. So, a team like Texas Tech can, sneak up and win some games in this tournament, in the Big 12 tournament. And they're capable, because again, they've beaten teams like Kansas State, Texas. I believe they beat Baylor earlier on in the year. So they got some good wins, and, they can beat these teams. So, anything can happen. They can get a Big 12, could get a ninth team in there, eighth or ninth team, I should say, into the tournament. That would be pretty impressive. And again, with the conference tournaments this year, we always see like maybe 1 or 2 teams in these, like the Big 10, the Big 12, the ACC, SEC, Pac-12, where you have that one team that comes out of nowhere and just surprises people and ends up stealing a bid from, one of the last 4 that are out, per se. And that's why I say it's so important for a North Carolina or an Arizona State, who unfortunately lost last night, or Thursday night, I should say, to UCLA. They play USC tonight, so if they can get a win against USC, that would be a quad 1 win. But they're going to have to do more than that to try and get in that large bit. But what I'm trying to say is, these kind of games you got to win at the end of the year. If you're on that bubble of getting in or out, you got to get these wins, and that way, come your conference tournament time, if you can elevate yourself by winning some games in the conference tournament, that'll definitely help your resume. And that way also, that you don't have, let's just say hypothetically, like the Pac-12, you don't have like I think Oregon State has the worst record in the Pac-12, and you don't want an Oregon State to all of a sudden start winning 3 or 4 games there. So it's very important for, the Arizona States, the, teams like that are on the bubble, to avoid having to, lose to them, or avoid Oregon State pulling an upset against like a UCLA or an Arizona or a USC. So, yeah, that's the key. And it's just a fun time in college basketball. It also makes it unique to see some of these conference teams, some of these teams that aren't, record-wise aren't very good, to shock a few people. So, you don't just get the upsets in the NCAA tournament, but you do get them in sometimes the conference tournaments as well. So, with that being said, some other great games, like West Virginia beat Kansas State. Kansas State's 11th in the nation. West Virginia, they're currently fighting for their tournament lives. The bracketology from ESPN, Lenardi has them in already, even before the game. So with that win, that definitely helps. So they're still alive and well. Auburn beat Tennessee today. Tennessee's number 12th in the nation. They lost over there in Auburn. A tough break for Tennessee, obviously, with the injury to Ziegler. He is out for the year. That's a big blow to the Volunteers and also to the fan base, obviously, that, Tennessee was one of those teams that could, make some noise in the tournament. Definitely have like second weekend potential. But unfortunately, with the Ziegler injury, it is going to, hurt him a little bit. They're going to miss his scoring and his defensive presence out there. So the other guys on that team are going to have to pick it up if Tennessee wants to go far this year. See some other scores. Texas A&M beat Alabama today. I didn't see the game, but I heard it was pretty good. Texas A&M, one of those teams that, they've been on a roll lately. Now they're ranked 24th in the nation. Buzz Williams really has that team playing well at the right time. Defensively, they're getting at it. And to get a win against number 2 Alabama is huge. You know, right now Alabama, obviously we all know the Brandon Miller situation, stuff like that. We're not going to get into the off the court stuff, but Alabama's got a lot of pressure on them to try and win this year. Especially with the whole Miller incident and stuff hanging over their head. Should he play? Should he not play? Whatever. But for Texas Tech, or A&M, I'm sorry, Texas A&M, that's a huge win. And another team that could really possibly do some damage in the tournament. Teams that probably you don't want to play those. When you look at the brackets, they're like, oh, you don't want to play that team. Texas A&M could be that, 6 seed, that could upset a 3 seed. So definitely got potential there. Oklahoma today, they beat TCU. That was an upset. Good win for them as well. And then we'll go over some of the games tonight, obviously. This is probably going to be one of the best games of the year, or on paper. Arizona, number 8, going to Pauley Pavilion to play UCLA. Huge game. Obviously, I think UCLA's already won the Pac-12 regular season title, so they'll be the number 1 seed in the tournament. But certainly, this is still going to be a good game. It's still a rivalry game. Maybe not on the level of Duke, Carolina, but certainly, Arizona and UCLA are, that rivalry's always been pretty good. I can name a lot of the players in that rivalry, but we don't have enough time for that. But I guess I have enough time to squeeze in this guy in here. Let me bring him in. He's an Oregon Duck fan, ladies and gentlemen. My co-host.
Why'd you have to bring that up?
Why not?
We're tragically mourning our loss of the March Madness tourney.
Well, I think on bracketologies, you're like the next 4 out after the last 4.
So we have one more week of having hope.
Yes, thanks. You got Pac-12 tournament, meaning you can win a few games there, and if you win the tournament, you're automatically in. So you don't have to worry about an at-large bid. You can get in with winning the tournament. So what do you think about that?
I mean, I don't know. They are, like I've been telling all season, we lack depth in the paint. So it's just one of those things where it's just like I have no hope for that until they get a good recruiting class of at least, like, because Oregon used to have, like, we haven't had a true center since Bull was on our team. Ever since they tried to rely on small ball, and that doesn't really get you far enough in March Madness. So, me personally, what I do want to bring up is my little sneak wagon I was telling you about weeks ago is at Seton Hall.
Yeah, they had a big win against Providence today. In Providence, huge. Not only a big win, but a blowout. I think they won by over 20 points.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you're shocked, but I'm honestly not shocked that all these upsets happened today. It's just like
yeah.
Like my favorite one was Alabama losing 2. Like I enjoyed that game.
Yeah, they Texas A&M, who defensively are pretty good. I think they're going to cause some problems for teams they face in the SEC tournament coming up, and also the NCAA tournament. So, Oregon, I mean, I think they still got a shot, dude. If they can win the conference tournament, look out. They've been a little disappointing, but, I still think, a team like Oregon can cause problems for a UCLA. They beat Arizona earlier in the year. So they can pull it off. It's not like they're going to be a one and done team in the Pac-12 tournament.
Yeah, I was looking at. I'm trying to look at all the games that I did miss. Like, do you
Mhm.
see that they had that Tennessee player or a Tennessee fan at the Auburn game?
No, I missed that. What happened?
Yeah, they had like the little Auburn little swag surfing show, like the Tennessee fan just standing there. That shit was
Okay.
so funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, there's like who would you think? I asked everybody this today. Like who, like if you had to have like one underdog to like make it to like the third round in March Madness, like probably like a bottom five, not like a bottom five, but like a long shot. Who would you see going through the first three rounds that no one else would think of?
Um, there's a team out there in the WAC Western Athletic Conference, Utah Valley, that can. I've seen a couple
Damn,
games
you
this.
lost. I gotta say, it's either them or
Yeah,
oh, I have like trying to think. So there's this
like
one team, but I
Utah
don't think
Valley.
they're gonna make it though. I think it's Indiana State, but I don't think they're meant for the March
Mm,
Madness.
yeah, but Utah Valley is a team that they shoot the three pretty well. They're defensively they're pretty solid, and they can. They're one of those teams I can see like they're they could be like a 13 or 14 seed that could beat a three seed. Let's say, for example, um, like a Marquette or like a Indiana. They could beat a team like that. So that would be my one team I could see. Now they have to win the conference tournament to do that because they're not going to get in that large bid, you know. So they have to
So
win their
basically, you
tournament.
equivalent them to like a St. Peter's of last year.
Yeah, something like that, like a St. Peter's. Um, just one of those teams that in the bracketology right now they got Utah Valley playing Virginia. You could see an upset there. That would be
Yeah, Virginia is that sneaky team. Like they just don't
they're
like
not great
if you get them
offensively.
at the right time, you can
Yeah,
definitely beat them.
yeah. That's why I said that would be my team. Alec would be Utah Valley. Another team I could see doing it that can make a lot of noise would be VCU, Virginia Commonwealth. Out of the Atlantic
Yeah,
10, they could they could surprise some people.
yeah, I
They got
definitely
them
see it.
yeah, they got them playing St. Mary's in the first round in the bracketology. So you could see an upset there. So I would say VCU and Utah Valley would be my two teams that could have that potential, like Seton Hall did last year or not Seton Hall, St. Peter's to go on a run, win like 2, 3 games in the tournament.
Yeah, that St. Peter's run last year was amazing. Like it's just one of those teams. Like that's what I like about March Madness. There's always that one team that like everybody picks against, and they think they're not gonna win, and they prove them wrong. They're just like Loyola Chicago of like what 4 years ago, 4 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think there's another
Yeah.
one. I think it was Butler. Butler that did it, like I think 5 years ago. I think they made it to the Final Four. If I
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah.
There's always that one team. There's always a Cinderella story every year. And it's just fun. Like, that's the reason why I like March Madness because you can't count any team out. There's always that
Right.
upset. I mean, obviously, like the first two rounds are the upsets are kind of like somewhat thin, but usually like in the second, the third round, that's when it's in full effect. Like nothing's ever guaranteed in March Madness, and it's
Not at
starting to
all.
show early. It's definitely starting to show early.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We already got some conference tournaments going on. So they're starting out the West Coast Conference tournament starting out here at the Orleans Arena here in Vegas. Gonzaga and St. Mary's have the double buys, so they don't play till Monday. So because they're the two best teams in the conference, number 1 and 2. Um,
I'm not gonna lie, I'm jealous because the Pac-12 tournament is in Vegas, and it could
yeah,
be a good Pac-12 final too.
I agree. I mean, we got the Pac-12 tournament, the West Coast Conference tournament, the Mountain West tournament, a couple other conference tournaments, the WAC and the Big West conference tournaments. Another team I could, real quick, Alec, is UC Santa Barbara could be one of those teams that could um, surprise everybody in the first round and maybe even the second round. I've seen some of their games this year. They're a solid team, so watch out for that team.
I'm trying to think of there is this one team stuck in the back of my head. I'm not sure if they're in there yet. But I'm trying to remember. It's like I thought I remembered it right now, but I guess not. But I know one person was following them. But I don't know
Hmm.
if they posted about it. Um, let's see. Let me see. I think he posted about it, but I don't think they're really gonna. Oh, Sienna.
Oh, okay. Out of the Metro Atlanta Conference.
Yeah, but I'm not sure if they're really like. 'Cause I haven't really followed. Like I've been watching their games, but I'm not sure where they stand in the
Um, I'll have to look. I
tournament
think their
wise.
tournaments, yeah, their tournament starts next week, I believe, or the end of this weekend starts. Right now, Duke is up by three, 60-57 over UNC. UNC's got the ball. Um, Again, UNC needs to get a win here, and then they got to do some damage in the ACC tournament if they're going to get in that large bid. But if they can win the ACC tournament, then all that talk is mute because they'll get an automatic bid. But I think okay, and then that could make it. Duke's got the
You know what?
yeah.
Upset didn't shock me was Baylor.
Oh no, the Big
They're,
12
they're,
is like
they're,
yeah,
they're a team that could fall early in the March Madness.
yeah,
And
they
I look,
could.
you want to see Purdue. I want to see Purdue lose somehow. Like I don't know. Like no offense, like Zach Edey, yeah, his height, but he doesn't use his height to his advantage. Like if you watch his games and like his like rebound like attempts like chance, he was I think he
Mhm.
was 2 games back. He was like literally like the tallest person on the court. Dude had 4 rebounds. Dude doesn't
Yeah.
use his height to his advantage, and like that's just where he's lacking in that area. I feel like it's one of those things that's gonna burn him in the March Madness.
Well,
It's just too
Purdue's
much big
too
deal around him.
well. They're too reliant on him. So they don't have their offense is predicated around him. So if he doesn't play well and make his teammates better offensively, then Purdue's not going to do very well. Defensively, they're okay, but I could see what you're saying, Alex. Purdue could be one of those teams that could lose in a second round matchup. You know what I mean? Somebody can beat them. If Purdue's like a 2 seed, I believe right now, according to the bracketologist, I could see a 7th or 10th seed beat them in the next round. Hell, I could even see a 15 seed beat them. It's they're just one of those teams that I haven't been impressed with all year. And Indiana beat the crap out of them in Purdue like a couple weeks ago. So you know, Purdue is not a very they're a good team, but they're not a team that I think can make a Final Four.
Yeah, it's more so it's like you trying to they remind me of Gonzaga, like Drew Timmy.
Yeah.
I mean, not. I mean, it's kind of like a bad reference because the Gonzaga they have key players, but it's like
Mhm.
it reminds me of that like that situation, but they're burning out Zach Edey nonstop, and it's gonna be the downfall of that team because you can't just rely on the same player every game because
Yeah.
this is gonna set them back. This is
Yeah.
not. I just can't.
It's
I just me personally, it just feels like it just sets them back down the road. I mean, they can probably make it out of the first round because they're probably gonna play some bottom 5 team. But I would not be surprised if they play against a team and they attack their weaknesses, and their weaknesses are shown every game. It's just certain teams never playing against them. But that's just the part of March Madness. There's teams that no one thinks of
Yeah.
that they actually they game plan better. So that's why it's more of a shock to everybody else. I feel like they can attack that weakness in the paint and possibly squeak out a win. Like my long shot was them to get out the first round. And no, this is not a hint to you and Sean, Alex. I'm not putting Purdue out of the first round of my bracketology. You ain't getting me. You ain't getting that lucky. You're not getting that lucky. But I'm not spoiling
Yeah.
my bracket yet. I'm not spoiling my bracket yet.
Well,
It's a
Duke
lot of
just
research
won
on that
the
one.
game. Duke wins tonight, 62-57. So pretty much now for North Carolina, they need to win the ACC tournament. They got to win the tournament because they, yeah, that's their only chance. So to get in my opinion, they've already been the first 4 out in the bracketologies. With this loss, it's probably going to put them maybe next 4 out. A team like Penn State snuck up this week in the bracketology. The Penn State's another team. If they can go on a run in the Big Ten tournament, even if they can make like the conference final, I think they get in they get in that large bid. So yeah, North Carolina really screwed the pooch tonight. So with that being said, Mr. Schomburg, we're going to take off, but I want to thank everybody for doing this short 2-3 Benzone episode. We are going to do one next weekend, obviously, because the NCAA tournament Selection Sunday. Yes, I think we're even going to do one right before Selection Sunday, and we'll go over our picks, who should get in, who we think should get in.
Oh, you didn't hear? Tom Brady's going to announce his return to the game on Selection Sunday.
Oh, is he? Right. Okay. Yeah.
No, that shit was that he did that.
Yeah. Stay tuned if that happens. By the way, Bucks fans. But yeah. So yeah, we're gonna do that next weekend. We're gonna do our who we think is gonna get in. Yeah, we'll do that before the Selection Sunday show, which would be at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. So I will try and get more than just one guest on here. Alec, I assume you'll want to join us, and then if you're able to make it, and then I'll try and get more guests on.
I'm free next
Sunday. A little round table. We'll do a little round table. So with that being said, guys, we're going to take off. We got some more college basketball hoops tonight to watch, and we will see you next time. Mr. Schomburg, thank you for joining us. We will see you guys next time on the 2-3 Benzone. Have a good weekend, and